All right, today we're going to be talking about loop knots and how we're going to use them for our fishing adventures. I've got a couple loop knots here. First one being the perfection loop. This is a great knot for tying loop-to-loop connections with leader material to leader, but also if you notice on your pre-built custom tapered leaders, this is usually the knot that's at the thicker end of that leader. It's also a great knot if you ever break your fly line while you're out fishing and have no other way to repair it. It's a great knot to quickly tie on the end of your fly line. Granted, it's not going to pass through your guides all that easily, but it is a good little fix in case that does happen to you. Another knot we're going to show you is the kind of modified Rapala knot or non-slip mono loop. Great for tying mostly lures and flies on. It gives your fly a nice wiggle. You can also tie the perfection loop on your fly and lure. The reason why you'd want that loop on your fly or lure is if you see this fly tied with just a clinch knot, you see as I move the leader, the fly moves with the leader. All right, so it doesn't give that fly very much motion. But when we have a loop knot tied to our fly or lure, you'll notice that that fly can move very freely, independent of the leader. That makes it real nice, gives you a little bit extra wiggle. Anytime I'm swinging flies, even dead drifting flies like nymphs, flesh flies, and things like that, I really love tying a loop knot. It really helps give that fly a little bit more action. Without further ado, we're going to jump into how we tie these knots. Thanks for watching. All right, the first knot we'll tie is the perfection loop. This is the completed perfection loop. It's a great one once again for tying leader material to other leader material or for tying a leader to your fly line. All right, we'll go ahead and grab a piece of rope here. This will represent our leader. And the first thing we'll want to do is make a reverse loop in this line, so that loop will look like that. So as it comes together, it'll be a backwards loop. All right, then we're going to pinch this loop between our thumb and index finger. We'll take our tag end, wrap it around our thumb and index finger, and I like to pinch that with my middle finger. I'll show you that again. We'll make our backwards kind of loop here. Pinch that, bring our tag end around our thumb and index finger. Then I'm going to pinch that with my middle finger on my index finger. It'll look like that. You'll have two loops formed. Take your tag end, pass it between those two loops. So pass it between those two loops. I'll pinch it again with my thumb and index finger. And the last portion of this, before we tighten it up, we'll actually grab underneath our first loop we made, grab that second loop, and we're going to pull the loop and the leader end, and we're going to pull that nice and tight, and that is our perfection loop. The best thing about this loop, and just like our Rapala knot or non-slip mono will tie, will be this 90-degree angle of the tag end coming out. That lets you know that that knot is cinching up nice and tight. Once you're done, you can just trim that and you're good to go. The perfection loop can be used for attaching lures and flies to your leader. It's not the most easy way to tie your fly on or your lure, but you can get this same effect. So we'll go ahead and tie that same perfection loop. We'll make our backwards loop here. Give ourselves a little bit extra slack. On this tag end here, we're going to attach our lure or fly to our tag end. So I'll place that through the eye of the lure or fly. We're then going to go ahead and wrap our tag end around that first loop, just like we did before, and pinch all that together. Then we'll take our tag end, place it between those two loops again. And now this is the more difficult part with flies and attaching lures. You're actually going to have to pass your fly or your lure through the original hole. All right, so we pass that through, which will of course pull this loop through that hole as well. And you'll see you got a nice perfection loop that won't slip on you, so that'll lock into position just like that, and it'll give you some nice wiggle to your fly. One way to use that perfection loop. All right, now on to a modified non-slip mono, Rapala knot, whatever you'd like to call it. This is probably one of the most secure knots that I know. It's kind of my modification on it. We'll get this hook out of the way. We're going to start off with some leader material here. We're going to go ahead and go with a normal overhand knot, and I'll show you how that's going to look. Just a normal overhand knot. Pay attention to where the tag end is entering and exiting this knot here. All right, we're going to go ahead and put our tag end through our hook eye. Keep everything pretty close to the hook eye, but grab that knot and the hook eye together. Now we're going to pass this tag end through the same side or same direction as where that first little pass through came. So if you can see that, that'll show you that it's going to go through the same way. And then you can go 3, 4, 5, 6 turns. It kind of depends on how thick the line is that you're using. In this case, we're going to go 3 turns. And then we're going to pass this line through the underside of this knot here, this knot right here. We're going to pinch these two pieces of the loop that we've created together. We're going to open the bottom part of this knot. I don't know if you can see that. So the bottom part of that knot right there. That's where we're going to pass this through the underside. All right, right there. And so you'll be able to see that the line is passed through every time on the same side as that knot. And that's important because when we pull all this together, you'll notice that it cinches down very tightly. And so it makes a really nice compact knot. You know, even though you'll probably be putting, 4, 5, 6 more turns in there, it's going to be a real secure knot, as opposed to, when you pass the line through in different directions, sometimes that knot gets bunched up on you. But that's the most secure way that I've found to kind of modify the Rapala knot. All right, thanks for watching.